I'm Dee Dee, and I've worked in coffee for over a decade. I love coffee, and as much as I've learned about coffee in that time, my desire to learn more has only grown. Coffee is a daily, simple pleasure to us, and I love that. But it's also fun to explore the complexities, not only in flavor, but where it comes from, how it's made, and what it says about us. There's still so much to discover. In this show, I'm talking with coffee people in and around my hometown of Atlanta to seek deeper insights, explore the future of the beverage, and find out what makes us tick. This week, we're exploring the world of barista competitions at Coffee Champs. This week, we traveled to New Orleans for Coffee Champs. It was like a party. It was so much fun. Mardi Gras was going on. They shut down the streets. It was awesome. But we had to stay focused because we had a competition to attend. So what does that barista competition look like? Well, it's a 15-minute formal presentation where you have 4 espressos, 4 milk drinks, and 4 signature beverages that you serve to sensory judges. So there's 4 of them. Then there's 2 technical judges that are watching your every move, and a head judge overseeing the whole thing. It's kind of nerve-wracking, but really fun. You learn a lot. Back when I was competing in the late aughts, things were a little different. I had to put sugar on the side of my espresso. But every year there's some advancement and things change and the community progresses. So everyone goes to competition trying to be number 1. You want to win, right? And whether or not they go home with that title, they're all going to go home having made bonds with coffee peers, an excitement for the future, and whether they realize it or not, they've shaped the future of the coffee industry just by being there. You just got finished competing. How are you feeling?
Feeling much more relieved. There's like no feeling like calling time and just like letting it all kind of melt away, and now I'm just hanging out and watching everybody else go, watching the rest of our team go today, so feeling good.
Did you black out at all during your competition?
It's one long blackout. Like like you don't remember any of it when you're done, really, and so, which I guess is a good thing. But yeah, I don't know. You just kind of speak from where you've been speaking for a long time, and then before you know it, you're calling time. It goes really fast.
You just stepped off of stage. How does that feel to be finished with your routine?
It feels great. Yeah, it's been really fun being here in New Orleans. I think every competition is very different, and this one there's lots of parades surrounding the building, and there's lots of energy and excitement.
So you just competed. We're catching you right after you come off stage. What did it feel like to be up there?
Honestly, being on the stage, doing it all, it's like things that I think I'll forget, I remember. Things that I think I won't remember to do, I'll do it. Or I won't remember, and it'll be fine anyway. And so the best feeling in competition for me is actually doing it. Everything leading up to it is a nightmare. It's just like, that's not true. Like, the coffee stuff is great. Tasting a coffee, developing a recipe, developing a drink with it, all that stuff is incredible. But then the ball of stress, it's like a snowball rolling down a hill, and it's just this huge as I'm about to get to the bottom, aka about to actually do the fun part.
So it's the time in between practicing where you're just sitting on the train and thinking about it. That's the hard part you're describing?
The hard part, yeah, having weird dreams about competition, staying keeping myself up at night, being would this flavor note be good? Would that ingredient, maybe this slight tweak of the script, it's really just seeps into your brain in ways that I did not anticipate.
What's it feel like to not actually be on stage this year?
It's a little weird, being in the space and not actively competing is in some ways a relief and in some ways sort of medium stressful, just because I kind of don't know what to do with my hands or my brain or my feet or my time. But I'm coaching Jenna Godhealth, who did amazing yesterday. She did amazing yesterday. So I'm sort of throwing all of my time and resources behind her, polishing glassware and packing and unpacking things and making sure that she eats and, all of the things that coaches do.
Well, what have you came to the table with something in mind, like you had this idea that competition was going to be a certain way. Things never work out as planned. What did you get from this weekend that you weren't expecting?
I did not expect to be so disturbed by tech judges in my personal space. I didn't train with tech judges. I didn't mock that in my run-throughs, and it affected me in a way that I really I didn't think it was going to mess with my head that way. Like, I really felt that my space was invaded, but I'm like, this is the contest, Like, you need to be okay with people, like, hovering over you, and so I just need to, like, not let that bother me.
How are you?
I feel good. It's a lot of energy. Like, competing takes a lot out of you in the second year competing. So like I feel good, but also like I want to cry, like, because there's a lot of emotion, like, right now.
Where does that emotion stem from?
Like, for me, competing is important because there's not too many black people that compete, and like just so like baristas that are also of color can see that other baristas of color can compete and do well, like, is important to me. So like, that's a lot of it, and also because like I like competition, and I like putting together routine and telling people things and teaching and stuff like that.
So, how long have you been competing?
This is my second year, so just this cycle and last cycle.
What do you get out of competition? What is it? What drives you to compete year after year?
Well, it's more like to meet people, and just to like show off your skills, and like there's so few ways to really test yourself as a barista, outside of like latte art tournaments, which is still competition. Like there's not like an annual ranking of the top 100 baristas, that comes out in Essen or whatever. So like you just kind of like, it's one of the ways to kind of see where you are, learn new things, and like taste coffee and just meet people from all over, and it's pretty cool. I like it a lot.
So it sounds like you get a lot out of the community element of this.
100%. Like, it's really all about community for me. 100%.
I feel like the coffee industry is really unique in that, like, we are more than just salespeople.
Yeah.
We are community oriented. What do you think the heart of that is?
It's because we all know how hard each other's job is. You know what I mean? And like, there isn't like, I mean, if there's a bunch of coffee shops in one strip, then like business affects each other. But coffee shops tend to be neighborhood places that like you see the same people over and over again, and like people get into coffee for various reasons, and it's really because like we all know what each other's going through, and like it's not competitive. It's more like a friendly kind of competition, and like you just do want the best, genuine best for everybody else that's involved in the coffee culture.
Absolutely. Is there anything you want to say that you didn't get a chance to say during your competition routine?
Man, I don't know. Like I don't think so. I think I got everything out, and like
That's great.
Yeah, I think like because I it took a while to write it, and it took a while to get the right notes and everything, but I feel good about it.
Did you feel emotionally connected to your coffee?
Absolutely. I use the coffee from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and that is a really difficult country to do business with. There's a lot of history there, and I think what makes these contests so difficult is that you really only have time to talk about things that are going to help you score better, and the score sheet does not like politics, or it doesn't. I mean, it's like, the score sheet is not political. It's looking for, do these things, meet this criteria, and so it was really difficult for me to hold back the political urge to make a statement that is maybe like a little more heated or loaded. Ultimately, yeah, I wanted to be like, hey, like, here's a coffee from this region that used to be one of the largest coffee producing countries in the world, and violence and just things happened that wiped out a lot of their coffee production. Like I read somewhere that it's like if 90% of Florida's orange production got wiped out, that's the equivalent of what happened in the Congo. So it's like, that's real. And now it's this renaissance. Like we've got Starbucks is the #1 buyer of coffees out of Congo. Like, that's really cool. I think Starbucks, as much shade as we want to throw at them, is a really important company. I don't think any of us would be here without Starbucks. And I think they do a really, they help two of the most vulnerable sides of the supply chain, right? It's like producers and baristas. It's like you can go to college working at Starbucks. You can have health insurance. You can move anywhere in the world, and you can also rebuild your whole life and your whole economy. It's an incredible company. Yeah.
You can keep going. That's great. How is this competition different from the previous one for you?
First of all, it's just different because we're in New Orleans, and so it's like the excitement and energy of being in New Orleans. And also, I got to work with different coffee. I worked with a natural processed coffee from Ethiopia, and it's like really fruity and really chocolatey, and that's like where my heart is. So that was really fun.
So you like just genuinely love drinking this coffee in general?
Exactly, yeah.
What drove you to come back and compete again for a second season?
I really enjoyed having this time to focus on coffee. It's primarily for the educational purpose, but also for the community purpose. The community within the education team back in Counterculture that supported me to do this and helped me and cheered me on, like having that kind of connection was really meaningful. And then being here and being able to share that with other people amongst this community was really meaningful as well.
What's it like now working as a coach compared to working as a competitor?
It's infinitely more stressful somehow. Doesn't make any sense, but it is. But it's also super fun from a very practical standpoint. From a coffee standpoint, I think the thing that I've enjoyed the most about this competition process and working with Penelope, as much as we've been tasting coffee at headquarters, has been tasting one coffee over and over again and doing crazy things to it. And like, we know this coffee super well, and we know what it can do and can't do, and that's really cool. And that's, I personally have learned a lot about, how our company source this coffee, about Ethiopian coffee varieties and 1,001 things in between. So it's been awesome. It's been very educational.
So you have learned as much as she has in the entire process.
Totally, which is a significant amount for both of us, in all honesty. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Competing in barista competitions is a great chance to gain knowledge about your craft and your community. What are you getting out of it personally, being a coach and a volunteer?
Man, so at this point, this is my 10th season being involved in barista competitions. And at this point, I feel like I've gotten so much out of it that it's now time for me to make space for other people to do the same. So I'm in the position where I'm fortunate enough to be able to step back and be in more of a guiding and mentorship role for people who are new to the competition, for my staff who's interested in the competition. So what I'm getting out of it is I'm growing a different part of my skill set now, where it's no longer about learning more about coffee or learning how to make the best espresso, but it's about becoming a better partner, becoming a better business owner, becoming a better boss, and trying to really just work on that skill set.
I like coaching a lot. I like passing, my accumulated experience on to people, and I like working with people and helping them to, grow and reach their potential. And I like, being there for competitors. It's a super rewarding thing for me. So.
It sounds like that's what your role is like at Everyman Espresso as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I firmly believe that that's the role of any good boss in any business, is to create the best opportunities and the best working environment and the best sort of general atmosphere for the people who work for them, to take care of the people who work for them. So like my whole job is to be there for the people who work for me and to take care of the people who work for me. Like that's all I do.
What are your ambitions with competition? What do you want to get out of this?
I think that my days of competing are now over. I think that my contributions lie most in judging and sponsoring competitors. I think that I was part of the old guard, been doing it for like 5 years. It's about time for me to step back and start sponsoring people who don't necessarily have resources or visibility to be able to come do it themselves.
Who are you helping this weekend?
I am helping my best friend of all time, first-time competitor Bailey Arnold. I was her support backstage and just kind of like gassing up any like woman, person of color, marginalized human being who's out here just with like endless amounts of support.
Why do you think these people who feel marginalized need support aside from the fact that they are not the majority?
Visibility is huge. So in order to reach out to a broader spectrum of people that work in coffee who might not think that they have a place in competition, having people of color, women, non-binary, LGBTQIA visible, that baby baristas who are just getting started, they can say, oh, they're like me. I have a place here. It's a very white, very male-centric industry and competition, and so the more that we can show support for these people that are not that, I think the stronger and more diverse and better our whole industry can be.
Why do you come to every competition?
Because I love it. It's my passion. It makes me live longer. Last year I celebrated my 80 years birthday. And I was really honored to all of the people that came to celebrate with me. It was in Seattle.
That's cool. So the coffee is your family?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And all of the barista, I have a lot of respect for the farmer, for the barista, for the grower, for the organization, and for new barista to come. But my dream is eventually to have a girl barista ambassador in the WBC.
Why is that important?
Because so far it's so many guys. I want to see, a girl to be an ambassador for the coffee industry.
What does a good ambassador do?
An ambassador has to care about the new, have a vision, put the industry together, embrace everybody in the industry, to raise the bar, basically.
What are you going to take from this to the next one?
Well, I learned quite a lot this time. I did go over on my time, so I'm still a little kicking myself about it, and I think doing it again, I'm really excited to do it again, and I'm excited to apply everything I learned and have more practice behind my belt, and watching the clock closer and timing every little moment. And so I think it's in a way I think it makes me a better coffee professional, because I'm gonna just keep fine-tuning.
What makes you now want to go on to Seattle?
That's a great question. For me, competition has always been, again, can I learn something well enough for myself to really, really know I'm good at that thing? And then as a trainer, I need to know that what I'm teaching and what I'm doing at home works. And, there's high-level coffee professionals judging you, and so getting that objective feedback is not something I just apply to competition routines. It's about what I do at home also for me, and it's a challenge again, and the thrill of competition is kind of a thing for me, and so I don't know. You get a lot of personal growth and hopefully home growth out of it as well.
I think it's important that you're around. I think you offer a lot of support.
You know something? I'm going to live longer to be with all of the coffee friends.
Yeah. Well, you definitely inspire a lot of people. So thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Hugs to everybody.
Thank you, Johnny.
Ciao.
What's going to be different when you go to Seattle?
I think. It'll absolutely be different. Throwing cappuccino in the mix, milk, whatever we're calling it, adds another level of extraordinary difficulty. I love making cappuccino, but I'm gonna spend 2 weeks just steaming milk, putting it in espresso, and pouring it down the drain. Because how do you account for shaky hands? How do you account for tech judges in your space? So I think that. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to getting back to work. I do need a little rest time for my life, but I think it'll be nice to be able to bring my own grinder, and I think it'll be a little more comfortable. The judging is going to be harder, but the idea of progressing through a season is that you get better too. So it's I went to prelims in DC, and I did my best and I took the training that I did there and I brought it to the training that I did for this contest, and I'll take all the training that I did for this contest and I'm gonna bring it to Seattle. And I'll smoke less weed in Seattle than I did last year when I was there.
Competition's on 420.
Yeah, I need to. Last year was also around 420, and I just had a blast. I mean, my T-shirt says "Best Buds." It's a great holiday. We're blessed.
I'm always impressed with the level of dedication I see at the barista competitions. See you next time. I love you. Bye-bye.